Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for the Vampire Diaries Season 5, Episode 15, Gone Girl. Now, when I first heard about this episode, I was not looking forward to it at all, because I knew what happened at the end of it. And I didn't really know if I was going to like it. However, I ended up really loving the episode. In fact, I think it could possibly be my favorite of the season, because the way they just did this episode was so well done. I really liked that they stuck to just one plot. It wasn't like a bunch of different plots. And I really enjoyed that about this episode. I think definitely it was a fantastic episode. And I loved every minute of this episode. So, let's just get to this episode. Of course, this was the episode where you know who died, and we'll get to that in a second, but let's just get to it. So we first see Nadia. She comes knocking on a door looking for Katherine. This is in the past, by the way. She begs the man for help. Now Nadia has a nightmare, and she begs the man for help. So Nadia has a nightmare, and Katherine wakes up and comforts her. And her arm is wasting and infected by the hybrid bite that Tyler gave her. Um, So Katherine wants to help her, but doesn't want to be outed as Elena. So she calls Wes. She wants Wes to help because she thinks that calling Wes might be the way to, get him to help them. He swears he's there to help and can make an antidote. He's excited because he's never played with werewolf venom. And Nadia says it's almost worth dying just to finally have her mother's attention. And that was the big theme of this episode, was she just wanted Katherine's attention. That's all she wanted, she wanted Katherine's attention, and she got it in this episode. So meanwhile, Damon is still chained when Stefan explains that Katherine took over Elena's body, and she was the one who dumped him. Stefan explains that all of his antics were reacting to Katherine's actions, and Damon asks why he told a starving Ripper vampire that his nemesis is still alive. Now this makes perfect sense because Damon, we knew he loved Elena, but, for him to go this crazy, it makes perfect sense it was because of Katherine. It makes perfect sense now. It's not completely, for him to go like completely batshit like he was going, it makes sense now. So Caroline explains it to Tyler and Matt, and they're horrified they fell for it. And Caroline says they are the worst friends ever, and Jeremy and Bonnie also discuss it. Jeremy doesn't understand why she saved him, and Bonnie says that she was just playing a part. So they all discuss the trouble she had stirred up, making out with Stefan at the hotel, telling Tyler about Klaus and Caroline. She's basically just been up to no good all around. So Tyler asks how they kill her, and Stefan says they need to stab her with a traveler knife to expel her. And then Caroline says Katherine will see a sneak attack coming from a mile away. And, so yeah, she says she will sneak attack from a mile away. She sees a sneak attack coming from a mile away. And so because of this, she will stick with her daughter unless not doing so, she will be out her as not being Nadia. So Caroline calls Elena, tells her they are throwing Bonnie a surprise party that day, and Katherine makes an excuse and says she's planning Aaron's funeral. Katherine gets a call from Bonnie, tells her that she's worn out from exams and dead witches. Katherine has to pretend to sympathize. Bonnie whines, invites her for coffee. Katherine tells her that she's at the spa buying a gift certificate and can't meet her. And Katherine rants about them all being clingy. And I thought this was a good plan, honestly. It really was. So Stefan comes into Damon's cell with a mug and bites his arm, fills it with his blood, asks for more, and Stefan tells him too bad. He says Caroline did the math and they figured out 3 doses of 4 ounces of vampire blood each day. Damon tells him to let him loose so he can get the cure from Wes. Stefan tells him to forget it. So Stefan then calls Katherine to try and tempt her out since she refused the others. Damon's phone rings from Elena's number. He answers and tells her he's hungry and strung up. She asks if they can talk and asks to see him. He agrees and invites her. She tells Nadia that Damon must know she's not Elena since he readily agreed to save her. She then quickly figures out that all of them know. And Stefan tells Damon that it doesn't make any sense that she volunteered to come over. Damon says he was testing him and he failed, so she knows that they know. So then back in the flashback, Nadia searches for her mother, has a purse of money. Nadia talks in her sleep, but she remembers the events Catherine's moved her. And Katherine tells her she didn't raise her to be a quitter, and that as soon as she's better, they'll leave Mystic Falls together. So Caroline at this point is freaking out because they lost the advantage of Katherine, not knowing that they know, and she worries Katherine will take off and they won't be able to find Elena. And Damon calls out from his cell that they need a locator spell, and Bonnie and Jeremy head to campus and to ask Liv for help finding Elena. She says they can't convince her. By the way, the scene where Katherine found out and Damon found out was like the same thing back to back. Very cool directing the way that was done. So Damon whines for blood. Tyler tells him to wait. He asks Tyler for some hybrid blood, and he shuts down. Damon asks why he's still there in Mystic Falls, doing nothing and going nowhere. And Caroline went for the nuclear option of sleeping with Klaus. Tyler tells him to fix himself and run away since Elena will never forgive him. So Damon goads him again about Klaus, and Tyler lunges at him and gets too close. Damon attacks and feeds from him, drinks a little, then throws Tyler down. The straw and hybrid blood gives him enough strength to break through his chains and walk out of the cell. So Caroline comes to check on Damon and finds Tyler coming to with a bite on his neck. Liv sits Jeremy down to help her with the spell, and Bonnie talks her through it. She's having trouble and asks Jeremy some questions. She votes for Jeremy and pisses Bonnie off. I honestly thought this was kind of funny. And that's what's happening there. So Katherine leaves Nadia to go check on Wes, and Nadia tells her to be careful in his lab. It looks like the evil doc has found the cure for Nadia. Puts the syringe in a case. Then hears a noise, calls out, and then dials his phone. But Damon snatches it and asks, and I thought this was amazing, honestly. "What's up, Doc?" Smashes it. Then Wes reveals he's the only member of the Augustine Society. Wants the cure so he can get Elena back. And Wes reaches for the syringe. And before this happens, Damon puts it right in his eye. He tells him, "I'm working on you now. You know, it's time for me to give you surgery." And he puts the scalpel right in his eye, killing Wes. So by killing Wes, Katherine can't save Nadia. And Nadia, then we're back in the flashback. Nadia wakes up in Matt's arms, compels him not to tell Rebecca. And Matt says he knows who Katherine is and has met him. And she takes his immortality ring. So Katherine comes in the lab, horrified to find Wes dead because she can't save Nadia. Gets a call from Nadia, tells Nadia she's coming for her, but it's actually Stefan who tells her that he has Nadia back at his house. And she doesn't believe it at first. She pretends to be Elaine, but then she realizes that they know. And then he basically says to her, she says, "Okay, I don't believe you. Get her on the phone." Puts her on the phone, and he tells Katherine to come back and see her daughter one last time before she's gone for good. She's now in pain. Then we see Nadia. She's in very bad condition at this point. So he's in very bad condition at this point. She's in very bad condition, and Matt comes to her bedside, tries to make her comfortable, takes her hand, tells her they're very icy, she calls him Gregor, and she tells him he's sorry she betrayed him. She's basically hallucinating at this point, really not able to really understand anything that's going on, just really out of it. She begs his forgiveness, pretends to be Gregor, and forgives her. She tells him she doesn't want to die. Bonnie, Jeremy, Tyler, Caroline, Stefan come in. Bonnie kneels beside her. She asks what happens when she dies, and Bonnie explains that she'll take her to the other side, and she asks if it'll hurt, and Bonnie says it won't. Katherine comes in, says she's there to see her daughter, and here we get an amazing scene from Katherine and Nadia. This was what made this episode so good, was this scene right here. And Katherine promises she's not going to leave her again. She found a way to save her. Katherine says that Klaus's blood would have saved her, but she didn't ask him. And she regrets not asking him, and now it's too late. So Nadia tells her that her mother's name is Katherine. And again, Nadia really doesn't know what's going on at this point. And Katherine tells her she's right there, begs her to look at her. And Katherine tells her that her life should have been more than searching for her mother for 500 years. So she kind of takes Nadia through this flashback. And this was beautifully done. Beautifully done right here. She shows her sort of just this flashback of her and Nadia as a little girl, and this could have been the life they had, basically. That's what she's saying. She's saying this could have been the life we had, but if you hadn't gone searching for me, this could have been the life we had. He sees herself as a young girl. Nadia sees herself as a young girl, and Katherine tucks her into bed, and it was just, oh my god, I felt like I almost cried in that scene. It was so amazing. Nadia slowly dies at this point. She closes, so she dies, and Bonnie takes her hand and takes her to the other side. Then, at this point, Katherine is basically ready to die. She's ready to die at this point because she doesn't have Nadia. She's ready to die. So Katherine gently closes Nadia's eyes, pulls the blanket gently over her face, and stands, makes a run for the door, and finds Damon there. Calls her Katherine, backs her into the room, and she's surrounded. And she starts to think, who wants to kill me? And no one says anything. So then she kind of goes through each person. And I like the way this was done. It really showed that, honest, everything she's done has basically been for the better of them. She first goes to Tyler, and she tells, Caroline that she made her better at making her a vampire. Tells Tyler that she triggers werewolf, and he's not like a boring person anymore. Made him a better person. And then she asks Matt if he stabs her in the heart, and says it was the best night she ever had. And then she turns to Jeremy and tells him it was nice to have a brother for a second. Tells Bonnie that she'll see her on the flip side. And honestly, this scene was really well done. And eventually she goes to Stefan. Goes up to Stefan. When she goes up to Stefan, Stefan kisses her. She kisses Stefan. And before she knew it, Stefan stabs her in the heart, and Katherine dies. So Katherine's dead. And honestly, I wasn't upset because I thought it was a good way to end her thing. I thought it was very well the way they did it. Matt, at this point, he stares at Nadia's corpse sadly. Jeremy tells him Stefan said they should have buried him in the woods. And Jeremy asks if he needs help, and Matt says he's got it. So he has one last moment with Nadia, which I like. You do see that Matt and Nadia had a connection, and he does get that last moment with her. So at this point, though, Elena's not waking up for some reason. Damon asks why she hasn't woken up, and Stefan says it takes some time. And he says thanks to Tyler's blood, and just wants to tell Elena when he's done and lets the chips fall. And then, so we see that. Then Caroline tells Tyler she didn't like Katherine, but is still sad. Tells her she sees the good in people, and she asks if he's talking about Klaus. She tells him his bite just killed someone, but no one is judging him like they are for sleeping with Klaus. So Tyler tells her that people expect more from her, and she tells him that they shouldn't because she's just like everyone else. Tells him to get over it or get out of her life because she's done feeling guilty. So Tyler now has a choice. Is he going to leave, or I think he should just leave, because at this point he's pretty meaningless on the show. So I'm pretty much I just want Tyler to go. I don't like Caroline and Tyler anymore. I don't want them, to be together anymore. So then Bonnie goes to the church, and there's Katherine. And we basically find out that Elena is waking up, that Katherine actually didn't let Elena go. She didn't want anyone else to love Stefan. So she put the thing that Wes was going to do on Nadia, she put into Elena. So now Elena is a Ripper. And because of this happening, once she grabs Bonnie, she's ready to pass through to the other side. And for some reason, Bonnie just tells her she can't. She can't pull her through. And Katherine goes back right into hell. And the episode ends from there. So what did I think of this whole episode? Honestly, Katherine dying, I don't think she's gone for good. I think because she just disappeared like that, I think we will see her again. I think eventually she's going to be resurrected. Because I can't, think that the writers killed her off. Actually killed her off as in permanently. I can think of them doing it temporarily, but not permanently. Katherine's such a great character that I don't think they should kill her off. I think they should wait till the finale to bring her back, and then bring her back oh my god, she's back, and then have everyone react, to her being back. I think that'd be great. However, now Elena's a Ripper. This is going to be interesting to see, because now Elena's back. She's now she's going to be a Ripper now, and it's going to be really cool to see what happens there. We're going to see more of a dark side of Elena, which I'm looking forward to. But this episode was so good. The scene between Nadia and Katherine, when Nadia basically told Katherine that she hasn't really had any moments with her mother, and Katherine felt so bad. You saw in this episode that Katherine is not a bad person. She did what she needed to do to survive. She did what she had to do that was best for her and her daughter. Yes, she made some bad choices by, making out with Stefan or doing the whole thing with Elena. She only did it so she could have some time with her daughter. That's the only reason she did the Traveler spell. And I thought that was amazing to watch, and that's why I love this episode. So let me know what you guys thought of this episode. No Vampire Diaries for 1 week, unfortunately. But I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for the return of Once Upon a Time, which is finally back tonight, which I can't wait for. So see you then. Bye.